Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogue with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Hawaiian Paradise Park on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. Yay, everyone. Yay. So you know what's coming up to the front right now is the word security. It's really fun. Just this weekend when I was at a farmer's market, one of my friends told me he was really worried about another friend whose wife is leaving him. They have kids, they have businesses, they have all the things going on, and his wife is leaving. And not only is she leaving him, but she's trying to screw him over financially. At least this is the story that I'm hearing, right? So here's the thing with all stories are projecting from me, okay? So it's really interesting because it seems like my security, like security in the world, especially financial security, is up right now. Like that seems to be like the experience of the day. Like it seems to be in question in the world, okay? So the thing is, when we attack, we're trying to get security. We're trying to get our security by taking it away from someone else. Our security doesn't really come from worldly things, though. All these plays are for, like if the scarcity thing is up in your consciousness in your world right now, all that is really for is seeing through. And you know, that's why it's a pretty big important lesson in A Course in Miracles, the lesson about I don't know what anything is for, right? Because we don't realize what getting the perception of scarcity is really for. You know, when we get that perception, it seems like we have to do something. I know in myself, I'm like, okay, how do I make enough money that so it's the same amount of money that I've been used to living with and that matches my bills, right? That'll be the kind of like the scenario that pops up. And you know, for me, I'm just watching that. Remember, we're watching a show. We're watching something that we programmed to be afraid of not having enough, to be afraid of not having security. So we're actually watching a show of a program that's not you that you're watching. That's something that you programmed, okay, to react like that. So it's not like it's a problem when there's the reacting. That way you can embrace the reacting. You can see it. It's like a child. Like, oh no, how will I get my, what about me? Am I going to be okay? Stuff like that. The thing is, as awareness, it's your function to allow that child to be comforted. That's your function. And so the way for that is just to not justify the thoughts that are holding up that upset feeling. See, the more you justify those thoughts, the more you attack that innocent child that you made. Okay, so it's not a matter of judging yourself for attacking, but it's a matter of becoming aware only of when you're attacking and how that feels to you. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you feel like you got bad customer service from someone, right? And they have a business, okay? And you feel like you got bad customer service. So when an attack thought is launched about how you're just gonna not give them your business, take away a customer from them. See, any kind of scenario, and this is for watching. This is not for trying to control yourself and control the way you speak. It's just for watching. Any kind of scenario where you want them to be punished so that they can see the error of their ways, you're really making that for yourself because there's no one there. So it's a matter of watching this. Now we've all got this program to where there's wild animal angry energy. It's a really intense anger and any kind of even a little irritation, even anxiety, you guys. You know, one friend didn't realize today that anxiety is actually an upset feeling. Like, you know, anxiety is an upset feeling. It's not anything else. It's not 5G. I know there's a story about 5G being cause of anxiety right now, but it's just a story being believed. And there's plenty of stories that you can latch on to be believed so that you can be anxious and seemingly have a reason to be anxious. So whenever you're feeling anxious and you're justifying it, let's say you're saying you're anxious because of the 5G, you're actually justifying why you feel anxious. Anxiety, remember, is it's veiling anger. It's actually veiling anger. It's a veil for anger. Okay. People, I know Anne's looking at me like, what, really? And yeah, it was kind of surprising to me today. I didn't realize people didn't realize that. You know, when I was asking a friend, hey, have you been noticing anxiety lately? I've been asking my friends that, well, a couple of them, because a lot of them told me that, and I've just been noticing that. And she goes, well, yes, I've been feeling a lot of anxiety. And then a couple sentences later, she goes, oh, I'm not upset though. I'm just feeling anxiety. And then in that scenario, in that situation, there was no call for speaking. I didn't find myself speaking anything to correct her or anything, because she went on so fast. It was just obvious that she wasn't interested in the answer. See, the reason why most people are still struggling is that they're asking for the kind of help that doesn't help, right? When you think of asking for help, it doesn't have to do with asking for money or asking for anything else. That stuff just plays out on the surface. If you're asking to see beyond what you made clear, if you're asking to see beyond what you made clear, you know, you made it clear to yourself, it's really nothing though. You made it real for yourself. If you were willing to see beyond that, that's what you're asking for, then you're asking for something that can actually benefit you. You know, if you're going like, it's the ego that's saying, where's my money, where's my money, where's my money? You know, like you know, asking for money and where's my money? The asking for money, that's nothing, because it's just an illusion. It doesn't mean anything. But it's the ego that's going, where's my money, where's my money, where's my money, when are the people going to give me my money? That's the ego. So whenever the ego speaks, basically don't listen. How do you not listen? Notice that you wouldn't keep that feeling if you had a choice. Notice that the feeling that's manifesting as you're following the ego, as you're following the ego's guidance, is not a feeling you would keep. Okay. Anxiety is painful in the gut. It clenches tightly. Yes, that's right. It's and you know, it all comes down to, yeah, the jaw, fear and anger. Yeah, totally. The jaw. You guys watch your jaw. That has been so amazing for me to just watch my jaw. I never heard that before, that your top and bottom teeth aren't really supposed to be touching. And anytime they touch, that's clenching. I'm like, no way. I have never heard that before. I mean, I heard in yoga, the yoga teacher say, during yoga, the top and bottom teeth shouldn't touch. I'm like, okay. So, you know, that's awesome. Pay attention. But then all day long, it seems like in yoga, it's easier for the top and bottom teeth not to touch. But then all day long, like when you get focused on work stuff and stuff like that, once you get your mind tuned into it and you notice, you'll see that they'll just clink together. That's anxiety. And it's awesome to see it. Because when you see it, that's how it gets resolved. You have to be able to see it. You basically get tired. You get burned out, kind of like exhausted of following thoughts that defile you. You're just like, why should I follow a thought that defiles me? That hurts. Why would I do that? You know. But when you're ignorant as to what this world is, you know, it seems like those thoughts are really meaningful to you. So it seems like you're stuck with anxiety. Like you can't help it. Like you just can't help it. You're just anxious. Look, I want to give all responsibility back to you because it's your mind. So if you're feeling anxious, you're actually choosing anxious thoughts. So that's a conscious thing. You're choosing those because you are stubborn to believe that the truth is true. The mind tends to get afraid that the truth isn't true. Oh no, what if I find out that the truth isn't really true? And then I didn't protect myself. I didn't do the 401k plan. I didn't do the whatever it is, marry an old rich dude to get my needs met, to get my apparent needs met. Insurance, yeah, I didn't get the insurance. That's right. See, but that's missing the point of what this is for. It's not for you to be all comfortable in your situation, like to feel all secure in your situation in the world. How is that going to help you see through the world? If you're all comfortable, if you're feeling all comfortable and secure. And how many lifetimes do you want like that? You know, how many lifetimes do you really want like that? That's the thing. The learning seems to subside where there's an abundance of comfort. So there's this discomfort for learning. And you know, the thing is that's interesting is when you get comfortable with the discomfort, it's not a freaking problem. You know, I've seen one friend rant today about how I just want to rest. I just want to take a rest. This is too intense. It's always so intense. All this learning and all this, it's just always so intense. And I'm like, hello, that's the ego. Nothing is hard for you. Really, nothing is hard for you. That's the ego saying that this is too much. This is not too much. There's a joy in it for you. It's the most joyful thing there could be. Healing is the most joyful thing. It's relaxing and it's joyful. So if you don't feel relaxed and joyful, that's because you're projecting thoughts. That's all. You're projecting attack thoughts. It's real simple. You stop attacking yourself and you stop feeling like shit. It is just super, super simple. And you know, that's basically all I've been saying this whole time in a lot of different ways. And it seems like people don't want to believe that. But I'm sure that all the people I perceive, that's my own mind. So there's aspects of myself that doesn't want to believe that. And that's why I'm getting that perception. So, you know, eventually, once I wise up, you guys are going to believe it. In the meantime, I'll be laughing at my ignorance. I'll be just laughing at my ignorance. Any ignorance that I perceive in you, that's my ignorance. So when you're over there crying about something and I'm knowing it's the ego, I just have compassion for that. You know, I'm not kicking you to the curb. I'm not telling you you're doing a bad energy or you're bringing me down or anything like that. It's just that I notice what you're doing. I know you're feeding the ego and you're not even going to talk to me about that stuff unless you want to know that you're feeding the ego. Whether I tell you anything like that, you're going to be learning that because I can't buy into it with you. And when you tell it to someone that can't buy into it with you, it doesn't go anywhere. It actually opens the door for you to see through it. That's why that teaching is really powerful. Is that so? Is that so? You know, people just tell you something and is that so? I mean, even for myself, lots of stuff comes out of my mouth. Is that so my own self? Because it'll seem like it's believable, whatever I just said or thought or anything like that. It'll seem like it's believable, but it's not really believable. Right? Like the thought might occur to me, I got to make more money than this. Maybe that thought even comes out of my mouth. As soon as it comes out, I'm aware of it though. I'm aware that it's meaningless. It's programmed stuff playing out. It's programmed stuff. All we are, whoa, I thought I put the thing on do not disturb. Because that didn't work. It is on do not disturb. What is ringing here? Okay, I'll just mute that because no one's talking to me anyways. You guys could probably still hear me. All there is love, and we are love. So there's nothing else. I mean, you could get the sense, let's say you get the sense right now, you are hungry and you don't know where your next meal is coming from. Say you're getting that sense. Now, you know, that's pretty intense. Probably a lot of you people that are listening to me right now and Wisdom Dialogues or in the future or whatever, you guys are not like, it's not like that. It's not like you guys are hungry and you don't have anything to eat, right? Probably not. Maybe there are some of you like that though. If that's the case, I'm applying it to that because that's something that's probably bigger than people are, you know, imagining. Let's say it seems like you're gonna die if you don't get food, like you're just gonna die. So that perception is no exception to being a healing and beneficial perception. And, you know, of course, the ego is going to flare up at hearing that and go, well, what do I tell a person that's blah, 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 blah. Forget about persons like outside of yourself. They're all you. It's all you. So it's for you. It's like whatever it is, you are getting an upset feeling because you're projecting a situation that you worked yourself into. And if you would be willing to see that it's only a dream, you'll get the relief that you need. And you know, the relief comes in the form of seeing, because it's only a problem with our sight. If there's not enough of something, there seems to not be enough of something. That's only a problem with our sight. Everything, you could say everything is here and nothing is here. Everything is here because it's all in your mind. Nothing is here because it's a projection of mind. It doesn't have any life of its own. So in that case, whatever you're getting a perception of is maximally beneficial to you, even if that perception is that you don't have enough money to pay for food and it seems like you're going to starve to death. How do I get past believing? What the fuck is that? I don't know what that word is. Thibodeau? Thibodeau? Thibodeau. I don't know. Okay. So believing this body is real. Oh, that turned into Thibodeau. Very interesting. Okay. Okay, so the body reality, the whole body reality, you know what? It's propped up by feeling. What's feeling? Projected thought. So the feeling isn't real, right? The sense that the body is real is a feeling sense. It's coming through on reactions. It's reactionary. That's where you're getting a sense. Like if you feel you think you feel hungry, you're never really feel anything. You don't have to get anxious when you feel hungry. It doesn't mean something's wrong. Okay, because you don't really feel anything. You actually project that. And the illusion is taking care of itself. So since the body is a feeling sense, constantly having like waves of energetic transmissions going through an energy field. Okay, it doesn't really go through a body because there's no solid body here. It's going through, passing through an energy field. So there's nothing like really space even. That's just a way of saying it. You're getting a visceral sensation off of that. So if you want to see through the body sense, stop resisting the visceral sensation that's reaction. It's a reaction to what you perceive. So it's like this. You're projecting something into the world where there's no world. It's not really going anywhere. It's like a screen. You're projecting something into the world. One of the things that seems to be in the world is a body. You're projecting a body. That body is a sense. It gives you a sense of what it feels like to be in the body, but there's no body there. You're really feeling the whole world that you perceive. It just seems to be that it's within these borders. Okay, so you get real curious about that. How am I making? You're making a world that you perceive by pursuing thoughts that make the feeling justified. So you're making the body real whenever you justify a feeling. How are you justify a feeling? Look, the sense like, how am I going to make it? Let's say, how am I going to pay all my bills? Okay, let's say the sense like that question, how am I going to pay all my bills? That comes with a body sense. Can you sense it? Can you sense what that is like? All you have to do right there is decide that you wouldn't keep that. Decide that you wouldn't keep it. What happens is you get hooked on the thoughts. Even spirituality stuff is hooked thoughts, right? All the thoughts are just pointers. The bod. Yes, the bod. All the thoughts are just pointing to what's true by way of pointing to what's not true. So it's like the ego's thoughts are pointing to untruth and coming along with an upset feeling. So it's giving you the opportunity right there. The body is hurting. Yes, it's a pain body. And here's the thing, as you go on in years, apparent years, what you're doing is you're accumulating pain. Now, it's accumulating fearful thoughts. It accumulates in the body sense, okay? Which may or may not, I don't know, be a cause for overweight. You know, it seems logical like that. I keep on holding on to stuff. I keep on holding, but it doesn't necessarily have to manifest like that either. You could be super small and have really hardness in yourself. It's just making illusions. It's making upset, painful things. So the body sense becomes more and more painful as there's aging. And you know what? There's not even noticing this, but there's all this pressure that bears down over time, but it happens over time. The pressure builds up over time, so you don't notice it. If you went from the time from your, like, let's say you go from 20 to 50 and just feel what it feels like to perceive a body at 20, and then feel what it feels like to perceive a body at 50, just sitting there, not doing anything with it, just sitting there, you'll notice a whole bunch more pressure that you just learned to live with. You just learn to live with that pressure, right? Yeah, it's like on the head. Block the top of your head. Anyone who does blocking, block the top of your head. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. Head's pretty tender. There's a lot of pressure on it. It's the way, and you know, this is how we sense it. That is how we sense it, like pressure. So yes, the body seems to hurt, but the body doesn't really hurt. That's the mind that's hurting. The hurt mind is accumulating baggage, basically. That's what leads to old age. That's what leads to aging. That's what leads to death. Picking up this baggage and making things real, holding on to things. There's nothing to hold here. Look at this. The person you think you are is an image that you made from, like, when you're a fresh newborn baby. No self-concept. The self-concept is entirely made in a lifetime, within the lifetime. No self-concept. Baby is perceiving a world. It's really not a baby. It's the same as everything. Perceiving a world that it's projecting and learning how to fit into it. So the person you think you are, you know, you're always telling stories about yourself in your mind too. I mean, I know, because like we share the same mind. This is how it goes. It's always telling stories about itself. And it's relating to other people in a way where it gives the self-image more reality. Let's say more reality, more validation. The interaction with other people gives this self-image validation, right? So we made this whole self-image up, and we made it in a way where it's fearful. Because we believe things automatically that are fearful. Look, I've been saying it for a long time, and I'm still saying it now. Money never bought us anything. It seems to, and man, I can tell you, it feels scary to not have the money to buy the things I'm used to buying. But you know what? More importantly than that, It feels invigorating because that sense, I know what it's for. So it feels invigorating. I'm happy about it. I'm glad. My last in-person one, I think I forgot what I titled it. I already posted it. It was something about a scam. Forgot all about that. It just occurred to me again. Yeah, so this sense of getting scammed, I've been hearing that, it's like been something that's in my field. It's all this scarcity stuff. I'm loving it. This is perfect for me. Who better to see through and show the way through, just show the way through it. Whatever it is, it's the same. So it's all going to be the same. We're going to demonstrate that it's all the same, no matter what kind of thing is playing out. Okay. And be adventurous with it. That's how you get past the body sense. Okay. Don't make things that apply to the body sense. See, like fear applies to the body sense, but as who you are, you're not a body sense. You're way more powerful than that. So getting a body sense that's fearful doesn't need to be a problem for you. In fact, it could be invigorating. It can be very exciting. That's how I find it. It seems like there's like an upheaval right now, like an uproar. Not so much, I'm not so much noticing it in my household as I'm noticing it outside of my household. But for me, it's all the same. If I perceive it anywhere, when I perceive it anywhere, it's my responsibility. The healing of it is my responsibility because I can't get a perception of anything that I didn't project. And that's as a mind, not as a individual that I trained to be guilty. Like, I'm not an individual. My husband printed me some law today. He wanted me to look at some law. It was really short. I was glad about that. It was just like this big. And he goes, he just put it on my desk and I read it and I go, wow, that's interesting. Now, since 2018, they're just defining what a person is. I don't know, they changed it in 2018. And the way they're defining us is individual. Individual. This is what makes the law apply to you if you're an individual. It's like, I'm not an individual. I'm not an individual. See, that sense of wanting to be an individual, that's part of the game. It's like, I am not an individual. Seemingly individual likes, dislikes, preferences, stuff like that occur to me, but that's not me. And they change. So even the apparent individual, I'm not stuck in this form that I made. I'm not an individual. I'm not subject. I'm not subject to the things individuals are subject to. That's why things are easy. I'm not subject to things that individuals would have to go through. Like, it would be a matter of, for an individual, it'd be like, well, you should be suffering. Yeah, if you're an individual, you should be. If you're not, you're crazy. If you're actually an individual and that's actually happening to you, you should definitely be suffering. Otherwise, something would be wrong. In fact, it's only as an individual that you're capable of suffering. Some people think it's compassionate to suffer. Like, if you suffer, that makes you compassionate for other people suffering. How can you ease anyone's suffering by suffering yourself? And if your intention is to ease suffering, wouldn't you want to have what it takes to ease suffering? Wouldn't you want to be released from suffering yourself so you could show how it's done? That's the thing. It's willingness to be released. And you know what? It's all if you will take on a guilty thought. That's what really it comes down to. If you're going to take on a guilty thought, then you're going to suffer. It all has to do with guilt. And that's it. And it's not like you can change your activity. What people think is, as soon as I change my activity, then I won't feel so guilty. Well, you don't have a choice in your activity. So that's why it's going to stay the same. You may temporarily perceive that your activity improved, and then you have more room to be released from guilt, but it'll come back again. Because until you see through it, the guilty concept just keeps popping up in different forms. They'll just keep taking different forms. You'll seem to do something that doesn't feel good to you. Like Niall was sharing last week, he seemed to do something that he wouldn't want to do to his customer, but he seemed to do a thing to his customer. And, you know, those are hooks. They're just hooks. Nothing happened. There's never been a customer. We know you don't want to hurt anyone. We know it's just play, though. You're in the play. You're going to get the perception of yourself doing things that you didn't really think you wanted to do. But it wouldn't occur, you know, making the seeming mistake, ruining a customer's order, whatever it is that you seem to have done. It wouldn't occur unless it was maximally healing for everyone involved, and that includes the customer. So even when you're like, maybe you're writing an email to the customer and you're apologizing to the customer for your mistake, in your mind, if you're knowing that it's all perfect, everything carries with it a different energy. And that's how you burn out that addiction to seeming to get it wrong. It's just an addiction. It's a feeling. Again, that's the body sense again. When it seems like you get it wrong, you get a feeling reaction. There's a feeling reaction to that. And it seems like you did something wrong. And especially if you hurt someone you didn't want to hurt, apparently. It's not easy because of being identified as an individual to see through something like that, because it seems like you have to fix something about yourself really fast so you don't do that again. But that's not the case. It's just a habit repeating. And as long as you keep thinking it that way, you're accumulating. Okay, that's aging. That's disease. That's pressure. Okay, as long as you'll keep on attacking yourself like that, that's the hooks. These are the kind of hooks that the ego throws out. So I was blocking with a group of friends on Saturday. That was really fun. There were 5 people blocking. Yeah, besides me. One of them had her own set of blocks, and you know, I have a bunch of blocks. So yeah, and one of the guys goes, I just need to do this every day. And I know this energy. As soon as this energy comes up, I just need to do this every day. I said, you don't need to do anything. You really don't need to do anything. That's the whole thing that's preventing you from seeing how to relax. Oh, I need to start doing, okay, I'm going to make a regimen. Look, there's nothing wrong with that energy where it's talking. It's talking. You're believing in it is where it's sticky. It's just you're believing in it. Look, if the thought occurs to me, oh, I'd really like to do this. This is the way it goes for me. Not I got to do this, just because different conditioning, right? It's like, oh, that really sounds good to do that every day. It's like, okay, go ahead and take care of that. If that's what I'm gonna be seemingly doing, go ahead, thought, and go ahead and take care of that. I don't need to do anything about it. I don't have any part in it. That's not me, the one that says, I've got to do this. Even I'd like to do this. Those are not me. So it's kind of like it could just take care of that. Anything about the world isn't relevant to me. Okay. I pretend like things are relevant. If I didn't, we wouldn't have any basis to relate. I pretend like you. I pretend with you. I don't pretend like you, probably. It depends on who you are. But probably don't pretend like you, because as I'm pretending, I'm not attached to the shit I'm pretending to about. As soon as there's an upset feeling, the pretense part is gone. We don't need that. Right? And another thing is, what's wrong with people who want to pretend like the world is real? No. Are they should they be I don't know. It makes me think of the COVID thing, how people who are unvaccinated shouldn't be allowed to travel or go to restaurants. It makes me think in those terms. All right, so say the person say the person wants to take the world as real, wants to make the world meaningful, you know, and they want to pretend. Are we supposed to try to break their reality that they want to make real? Right? No. You're not supposed to do anything. If they want to pretend like the world is real, I let them. It's fine with me. It's kind of like, is that so? Oh, if they have something to ask of me, they can ask me. But just random, oh, well, you know, you're pretending like the world is real. You want to pretend like the world is real. Some people do. And, you know, you don't have a choice in what you say, but you can feel an energy within you where there's conflict. You know, there's conflict within the situation. You can feel it because it's coming from you. So when someone's making the world real and you're resistant, there's a bad feeling about it. That's where the healing takes place. That's where your function comes in, to allow yourself to be uplifted in that. Because, you know, that hurts to be, it feels very lonely to be perceiving a world where people are pretending. You need compassion. You need compassion for that. The one that's saying, I don't want to be around these people. You need compassion for that. All the people that arise in your experience, those are your people. Okay, they're the ones that are observing you demonstrate to your own mind, and they're helping you to demonstrate to your own mind that this world is make-believe and you wouldn't keep it. As soon as you realize that you wouldn't keep it, you won't even be perceiving it anymore. As soon as you fully realize that you wouldn't keep any part of it, you won't even be perceiving it anymore. It's so funny because we have kids and stuff, right? It's like, yeah, you have kids, and of course, like I have 3 kids. You know, if I was like, my kids might be like, I don't know, I'm just like projecting this out there for the sake of wisdom dialogue. You know, they might be like, oh no, I don't, Mom, you can't see through the world. You'll be gone. You'll be gone. No, no, Mommy, no, 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 don't go, don't go, don't go. But it's not like that. When you see through the world, your children are already there. There's no age, there's no dying, there's nothing like that. So there's this fear of losing this thing because of all we've put into it. You know, we have all these situations, people, it seems like we're necessary here. So there's this drive to uphold it by attacking ourselves. And I think we're getting tired of it finally. I think we're just getting fed up with it. One friend was telling me today, because I go, wow, you're really calm. You seem super, super chill. And he goes, yeah, you know, I just got exhausted. Basically, I spent all these years being terrified, and I just got exhausted, and I decided not to do that anymore. That's how it is, you guys. It's meant to exhaust you. It's meant to wear you out. That's not really you that's getting worn out. It doesn't touch you, but it's meant to wear you out, like mentally, because you're spinning, 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 just spinning the stories over and over and over again. It's meant to wear you out so you can't pursue thought anymore, thought that hurts anymore, let's say. So the kinds of things that you know, the mind, and you can say analytical mind, the kinds of things the analytical mind would be good for is like, say, hey, let's say you're a woodworker and you're like, I want to build those blocks for you, Hope, because I see how valuable that is, blocking everyone all around. Go do some big block classes and stuff. I want to make some of those for you. Okay. So you know you want you want to make something, apparently. Okay. It's only in the appearance. So there's a thought that follows that about which way it's going to go. And then another one, and then another one, and then another one. Just notice that. That's how it's going. That's how you're making something. So not anything wrong with it. And then another thought will come, maybe while all that is going on, about how Sally flipped you off the other day. And that's spinning around. Okay. So one of them is an attack thought that you is not serving, it's not doing any good. Let's say it like this. They're all attack thoughts, even the one about getting the block. Okay. It's all attack thoughts because it has to do with the world, and there is no world. All right. There's no world. It has to do with the world. This is compulsory. We're acting like there's a world. Okay. Just notice. And notice when there's the other kind of thought too, where it's like someone looked at me wrong and you're spinning around, spinning around, spinning around. All the thoughts are going to get purified this way, just by seeing that they're meaningless. Then you're not getting hooked by it. Let's say you're feeling really inspired, you want to make the block. And then you run into, I don't know how I'm going to hollow it out. It seems like it's too much of a hassle to hollow it out. I don't know how I'm going to do that. If you don't take a rest right there, now you're using it in a way that's projecting more attack onto yourself. You don't notice that you're attacking now because you made it a stressful thing, that like now, not only does it seem like you want to do this thing and it seems like you have to figure out how to do this thing, it seems like you can't figure out how to do it. So then it gets all tangled. Look, there's nothing to do in the first place. So you just go back to, there's nothing to do in the first place. Then you're playful again. And then who knows, maybe not, you might see an easy solution if that's what's necessary for maximal healing potential. Only if that. So it's not a matter of trying to manifest what you want. How can you know what you want? You have no idea what's in your best interest. You're not making any sense of the world. Yes, the blocks are hollow. They're not solid. They're not solid wood. They're hollow blocks. Yes, they'd probably be a lot heavier if they were solid. Yeah. You lay on them, you don't put them on you. So they don't need to be heavy. Just need to be hard, which they are. Yeah. It always comes back down to simplicity. It's just a perception that we're having. No one's getting hurt here. You're just dreaming. You just want to wake up. And if you use it for awakening, you're just going to get happier and happier. It's not going to matter what is transpiring. And what is transpiring, it's magic. It's a magic trick. That's fun. It's kind of like you went to the fair and you went into that hall of mirrors. I mean, it's kind of like that. It's fun. Sure, you can seemingly get hurt in it. but it's only part of the play that you seemingly get hurt in it. You probably will. It's part of the play. That's how you set it up. If there wasn't anyone getting hurt, you wouldn't need a play. And those are all initiations. Whenever you get, a powerful heartbreak, there's ways you can go with that. I mean, I've definitely seen people just let it take them down. They'll be going along happy-go-lucky. They're like, oh yeah, life is great, thinking that it's real. And then all of a sudden they'll get some kind of heartbreak. Maybe someone dies, or maybe someone breaks up with them, or maybe they come down with some kind of health thing. And that's where you're being given an opportunity to see through more. This is for seeing more. I look at these instances as, yes, it's an opportunity to see more. It's not like trying to avoid anything. But what happens often is people will use that experience to become jaded and then keep on getting more upset and more tense as they go along, right? So it's a matter of, how do you want to use it? Because it's giving you an opportunity, providing you an opportunity to see what you're trying to uphold as your reality and how it's hurting your mind. If going through an illness, let's say, is going to be the reason that you use to be depressed. I have one family member who's going through a sense of being paralyzed, and he has been for several years now. And you can use the perception of paralyzed as a reason to be depressed, and then you can live it out that way, or you can use the perception of being paralyzed as, fuck yeah, this, whatever I have, this is it. It's like, yes, that's what I'm going to use. That's what I'll use, whatever it is, because whatever I have, that is actually what's in my best interest. See, you can know what's in your best interest if you're aware that whatever you have is in your best interest. But if you think you want something, that thing, there's no way you can know whether it's in your best interest. Person, anything, you can't know whether that's in your best interest. So why would you try to get it in a way where it seems like you have to sacrifice yourself? Why would you even try for it? You don't even know if it's a benefit to you or not. And most often, when you're conditioned by the ego, which basically what we did, we taught ourselves to be like a little ego. When you're conditioned by the ego, you don't know. You think you know what's good for you, and then that turns out to be, it's never bad for you, but it turns out to be in your mind the wrong move. See how you're projecting it all? It can't really be bad for you, but you thought it was good for you, and you went toward it, and maybe you got it in this instance. Maybe you got that thing, and then you found out that was shitty, but you just don't know. So when it seems like I want something, it gives me a little red flag just so I could be aware of that. And it seems like I want something. Because when I'm aware of wanting, then it doesn't get projected. It's the not aware of wanting. And you're not aware of it if you think that's you. One of my friends is like, I just want to get some fucking money. I just want some money. I want some money. I want some money. It's like, that is not what you want. You want something else. You're projecting money in its place. I don't know. Whenever it seems like I want some money, I just go do some blocking. That's what I find myself doing. It's like, wherever I'm going, I'm taking the block. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really need the block either. There'll always be something else. There'll always be something else that seems like it's a tool for releasing tension, because you know that's what I do. That's my function, basically releasing tension. Right? The same thing as healing. It's just a willingness to release tension. So with willingness to release tension, apparent opportunities for releasing tension come up. That's just how it goes. It's the unwillingness. See, we'll get a perception of, oh my gosh, I can't release tension. And then we'll go into unwillingness. That perception is just passing. I'd laugh at that. That's not true. Show me how I can release tension right now with whatever this is. One of my friends gave me a reading, and it was so cute. She goes, she got some card, I don't know what it was. And it was something about, oh, Hope, you're really going through it right now. I'm so sorry. It was recorded reading. Oh, Hope, you're really going through it right now. I am so sorry. And I'm like, oh, I feel that. Just a sweet, it's just so compassionate, you know, it's like sweet and compassionate. And it's like the same for me if I seem to be going through anything or not. That's always the same for me. Now, I don't have a sense that I'm going through anything as if anything's really hard for me. I do get the sense that it would be looked at, what I'm going through would be looked at commonly in the common mind as something that would be difficult. Okay. You know, it seems to be a collapse of a business, may or may not be still, I don't know, but it seems to be the collapse of a business. And you know, I'm just really enjoying, if you get my email newsletters, you know, I'm enjoying my way out. If it is going out. Loving the writing about plant medicine and having fun communicating with my customers. And I'm enjoying the whole show, however it needs to transpire. One thing that occurred to me today is, you know, so to be successful in business, number one is don't be attached to your business. You know, do not be attached to your business. That's number one. I've noticed that in doing business, because I've been doing business now for who knows how many decades. But it'll occur to me at a certain time within the lifespan of the business, now is the time to sell. This happened in both of the business. They've both been long term. One was 9 years, and then this one's 11 years. And I had a small one before that, pretty mellow compared to the other two. But in both of them, I saw a cycle where it was like, okay, time to sell. But it'll seem like you don't want to. You know, and I'll bring it up to my partner, and the reflection I get from my partner too is like, oh no, like, why would we sell it? Doing good, you know. And it's just, it's fun. It's funny to see that. It's funny to play with that. It's like, I don't know if another business will manifest, or if it'll be something else. Who knows? It's just so open and unknown. One of my friends was saying, I don't want the unknown. I don't want the unknown. It's like, that is actually where your inspiration is. All your inspiration is in the unknown. I love the unknown. This is kind of like it's almost like the lava thing got drug out, because when the lava came and took my house, and took all the stuff, and well, before it came and took the house, we got evacuated. We left our business there. Our business was going to be gone. And I was good with that. Immediately I was like, oh, what fun. It's just going to go, and we're going to, but then we brought it and we revived it. Okay. And you know, a lot of it seems like it's my partner because he goes and saves it and takes care of everything to keep it running and everything like that. But I'm projecting the whole thing. I'm projecting all of it to make it like that. Okay, oh, we need to save it. And then we're over there saving it. So it's kind of like it just got drawn out another 4 more years. It seemed to be going on this kind of cycle where, hey, that energy has played itself out. Go ahead and move on. And then there's this gripping to it. See, we don't have a choice in what we do, but there's a gripping to it and an unwillingness to release. This is a business that's like at that time bringing in, I don't know, maybe like $50,000-$60,000 a month. I was feeling like I'm done with it. But then, you know, the reflection was, oh no, we can't be done with it. This is like, no, there's too much, too good, all this stuff, kind of stuff. And it was like, okay, well, I'm not really interested in that kind of vibe, so I'm just going to chill out and not really get into it. And then when it starts going, it starts going in the direction that it's going right now. It seems like it's just going to almost non-existent. I mean, like today and yesterday, there's like not very much for even me and Tony to do now. So if it's going in the direction it's going, then there's not that thing of trying to save it and do all that other stuff. Then I start feeling inspired. I always love the plants and the plant medicine. That's wonderful. Just couldn't resonate with a vibe, a certain vibe. And now it's the vibe that is totally resonant for me, maybe just on its way out. And that's fine too. I'll just have fun with it on its way out. The thing is to just keep on having fun, because then more fun stuff comes up, you know, and you don't have any kind of responsibility for like how anything turns out in the world. There are absolutely not consequences for your actions. There are no consequences for actions. How could that be? How could that be? Start studying quantum physics and quantum mechanics and see, you know, ask the question, how could that be? It's not actually not reasonable. It looks like it's reasonable because we set it up to look like that. There is no cause and effect. So whatever's being demonstrated through our body sense, that's just what we need for healing. It has no other meaning beyond that at all. We don't, and you know, I'll have sometimes I'll have people tell me once in a while, Hope, you're just saying that to let yourself off the hook for all the mistakes you've made. Yes, that's right. And everyone else too, for all the mistakes they think they made, because we're dreaming. Let's all be off the hook for all the apparent shit we seem to have done because we're dreaming. See? And when I say let's all, I'm only talking to myself, because there's only one of us here. I do though. I let people off the hook all the time. I mean, it's just natural the way we've been conditioned to get them on the hook, like they've done something to you, like you're going to hold them accountable or something like that. It's just our conditioning to do that. So it's just natural. I'll be like, I don't know, going through my dresser drawers or something like that, and all of a sudden it'll occur to me how this company, how dare they do their business like that? And I just let them off the hook. Because it's really, I'm on the hook. They're not on the hook. I'm on the hook. There is no them. It's a total mental thing. It's a mental trip. It's a game. It's like, no wonder people get the perception they're sick with long COVID, for instance. It's attack. It's attack thoughts over and over again all day long. If you don't see that it's an attack thought, then I let a person know today. I said, hey, will you please be a little sweeter to yourself? No, because there was this thing about like just this punishment, like a punishment vibe, you know? Like, how do you like that? No, I don't want your fucking essential oils. Fuck you. Get me off of this or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I can do that for you. Can you please just be a little bit nicer to yourself? Because, you know, the punishing thoughts that you believe, they're reflecting in the way you relate with everyone. Not just me. I seem to be, I'm always talking to myself because I'm the one who seems to get testy with people when they're in business. Right? You just let someone off the hook when you heard me say that. Thank you, Yulia. That's it. It's really simple. Who can you let off the hook right now? Who have you been holding as your tormentor? Who's your tormentor that you can let off the hook? Is it Dr. Fauci? Dr. Doom, as he's known? I heard he's resigning or something like that. And I heard, people saying that's the longest goodbye because it's not until like the end of the year or something. Can you let him off the hook if that's a trigger for you? He's not doing anything. He's really not. He's just projected as if to be out there, as if the one being the cause of your upset feeling. Because you have to get that upset feeling triggered. That's why you're going to be made, myself too. That's why I'm made to act. I have to be made to make some kind of movement so I can get triggered. And the triggers are what help you see, oh, you know what? This is exhausting. I'm not following this anymore. I don't believe this anymore. One man told me, he's broken up with his partner now. And she was telling him, you're just so demanding. Like, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to do the things that you're telling me to do, that you were telling me to do. By this time, she's sick of him because he's just a pain in the ass. He's so demanding. And he's like, well, I didn't know. Why didn't you just say something? I'd rather keep you around. And the thing is, it seems like they're putting, this is common for people in relationship. It seems like they're putting pressure on you. Like you hear them a certain way. And you know what? They hear you a certain way too. And it seems like you're putting pressure on them. I noticed that in my relationship with my husband. Sometimes the way he reacts to me, I could tell he thought I was putting pressure on him. I don't go and analyze myself or anything. I just embrace that. Okay. It seems like to him, it seems like I could see that. That's all you really need. To him, it seems like I'm putting pressure on him. That's why he's reacting that way to me. When I didn't realize it was because to him, it seemed like I was putting pressure on him. And that's why he was reacting to me. And I didn't see it. But then once I see that that's the thing, it's like, oh, and then the communication can come out. Oh, no, you don't have to do that. I was just asking about that. Like you can walk into a room and, your partner, they might be feeling guilty, which is very common. People are often feeling guilty. Okay. And you walk in, hey, what are you doing? And the person's like, what should I be doing? Right? Hey, it's like, hey, take it easy. I'm not trying to say that you should be doing anything. I'm not trying to say you should be doing anything different than you're doing it. You're not in some kind of trouble. Just making some conversation. Hey, what are you doing? Aren't we fun? They're just so playful. I had that intensely, that man. And my partner would come, especially when we moved to Hawaii and I didn't have a job. And my husband would ask me what I'm doing. I would get so defensive. Oh my God. It's a practice just to, and it's fun practice. I recommend it just to notice your reaction to what are you doing? What are you trying to do with that? Look at your answer. Like, what are you trying to do with that? Are you trying to get uphold your self-image? Like, what are you trying to do with that? You're not a doer. It's identification as a body, as a doer, as an individual, as the one with the preferences. That's what causes suffering. So it's to disidentify all we can. Not going to make you less compassionate. You know, there are going to be people that think you are less compassionate. That's just the way it goes. Especially as you're learning, and you're not the way that the people are used to seeing you, being really stressed out anymore. You're not so stressed out anymore. Other people might be going, oh my gosh, what's going to happen that she's not stressed out anymore? Everything's going to fall apart. She's not going to do what needs to be done because she's not getting stressed out. In fact, she doesn't even seem to care. It doesn't even seem to bother her. So people might have a hard time with you, especially at first, because you trained them. And you know, people are going to have a hard time with you because you trained them to be worried, to be scared, to be angry. And so they want you to still be doing that with them. That's what makes it more reasonable. There's a big fear. The ego builds these self-images in a very defensive way. There's a very fearful feeling that comes up when someone who is committed to illusions being true perceives you being just light and carefree. I have people actually ask me, is it just like that all of the time? Is it just like that? And I'm like, well, if it's not, I know I've got something wrong. I believe something wrong. The way I looked at it, it's a view, it's a mistaken view. I have a mistaken view. My view needs correction. Another way of saying it. So once I tune into that energy of the view needing to be corrected, then I can see. When I know my view needs to be corrected, I can see. So immediately uplifts. You know, I still get a perception that someone's over there and things are over there, but in a very uplifted way that's not dependent on circumstance. It seems to be, because the world is in my mind, that the world is going through a security issue right now in all different ways. Money is one way that it manifests. What are other kinds of securities? Health security, right? And there's two camps on that. They're both looking for security. One of them wants the medical industry to pump them full of all kinds of poisons, toxins, and to be healthy that way. And the other side wants to be free from having to comply with that stuff. They're both the same. Neither of them matter. Yeah, war too. At war within ourselves. So what's going on in our mind is playing out on the world stage. That's why we think we see war, we think we see famine, we think we see scarcity on the world stage. Look, even the ones that think they're running the world are dealing with scarcity consciousness. The world they put together, the world they made, apparently, for everyone to live in, it's not sustainable. And that's revealing itself. It can't even help it. Because it's consciousness. It's really consciousness. It's not like it seems. It's actually consciousness evolving and awakening. And it can't be stopped. It's not going to be stopped. So a lot of people are going through anxious feelings. One way of saying it, One sister of mine was telling me that wormholes are opening up. The reality is shifting. It's shifting into another dimension. That's going to be a cause for anxiety because it's coming from the mind. See, it's a change of mind underway. So if you're sensing anxiety right now, and I've heard, wow, I just go on Facebook for a few minutes. I don't know if they just come up for me. Well, yeah, they do. Definitely do. So I could share it with you too. People are going through it. Wow, it looks like. So I'm just reminding you that it's a transition. It always is. You don't go through it for no reason. Okay, remember, that's not even you going through it. That may be helpful for you. It may not. If it's not helpful, toss it. It's helpful for me when I realize I'm not actually going through it. When I'm just willing to lean into, wow, this seems really hard for me. Whenever I get to the point where it seems like I'm going to cry or something, that's when I really start laughing. It's like, wow, is my face really going to get wet with tears for no reason right now? Is my face really going to get wet with meaningless tears right now? That's just going to make me laugh if that happens. Right? It's just not, it's not anything. It's not anything real. To me, that just shows that wherever there's crying, it's like obviously not real. That doesn't mean if I encounter a person crying, I'm not going to hug them or something like that. But I also don't try to join them in suffering. I'm more like there to remind them that the monster they think is in the closet isn't there. There's no monster. That's what I'm there to remind them about. It may not be in words. It's just a gift. Because I don't buy in and I don't try to join them in suffering. So I use the situation for healing. And the gift is healing. See? But they can't play it out with me because I can't believe it. So if they're committed to holding on to what's making them feel upset, if they're really committed to it, they're not even going to be talking to me. I don't have to try to do anything about that. They're just not even going to be talking to me. We just don't see each other. The only way I'm going to interact with anyone is if they are open to healing. They may not look like or seem like they're open to healing, but the only way I'm going to be used is if they're open to healing. And that's you too. So remember that no matter what you think they seem like, how ignorant, how stubborn they are and wanting to pretend. You see how you're projecting your own mind there? How stubborn they are and wanting to pretend like the world is real. That's exactly what you're doing when you express anger or impatience towards someone who wants to pretend like the world is real. You're making it real. That's exactly what you're doing. If you're using it as any cause for upset, that's exactly what making it really is. It's not a matter of just saying the world isn't real, the world isn't real, the world isn't real. You can say that all the time. But if you're using circumstance in the world as a reason for you to be upset right now, and that is a circumstance in the world that you have a perception of someone wanting to pretend. Let them pretend. They're children. They're playing. They're pretending for a while. They'll have to wake up too. It's kind of like you go through this phase as consciousness. You go through this phase where you're like a baby, a child, a teenager, and an adult. Okay? The children are playing. They're playing make-believe. They're playing dress up. Nothing's wrong. You went through it too. Leave them alone. Give them the space to play it out. The only way you're going to see it is if it's played out. So a sister was telling me she's into TikTok and she wants me to get on TikTok. I just downloaded it today. I haven't been on it yet. And she wants me to go on TikTok. And she said, yeah, there is this thing about TikTok about saying that it's addictive because it's this and that and this and that. I don't know if it's really that good for kids, whatever the story is. I'm like, man, I say play it and play it and play it, whatever it is, play with it, because that is how you burn out the patterns. You don't burn out the patterns by trying to control and say, no, that's bad for you. You're going to get addicted to that. Let it play out. The life is not for what we think. Society has a way of showing, oh, this is what the life is for. I was watching this movie, or it's a show. It's called The Bridgertons. I don't know if you guys heard of it. Yeah, it's on Netflix. I don't know. But anyways, it's a TV show called The Bridgertons. And they're all about these, well, the women, they look like they're probably about 13 to 15 years old. I could be wrong, but I don't remember them saying the age, but it looks like they're about 13 to 15 years old. And they're like stressed out. They're anxious because they have to find a spouse. If they don't find a spouse, they could lose all their security. Let's say that. It's basically lose all their security. So this is set back hundreds of years ago. I don't know how many hundred, but I think it's in England somewhere. And yeah, in one of the scenes, a girl goes, Mom, I'm going to go play with my friend. And she's like, you don't play. You do not play. And she goes, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go promenade for they didn't say a spouse, for a wedding proposal. I'm going to go promenade for a wedding proposal with my friend then. And her mom's like, okay. It's like, you know, when you see how that society is set up on that show, The Bridgertons, you see that our society is also just set up. It's in a different way, but it's set up to where there's certain ways that you're supposed to be. And you can see how freaking fake it is. And that's how, like, what they're exposing through the whole thing too, is just like so fake. What a waste. It's a waste of energy because it's not being used for healing. They just keep on going around and projecting more. And war too. Yeah, it always gets to that. Someone did something bad to someone. So anyways, the scamming, that reminds me of the scamming. So it's like, when you get scammed, there's a certain sense projecting like they did something. I love that. I love it all, but projecting like they did something to you. He did a really good job. I asked him at one point, what is your business? Because he's talking about his business. And he writes me back about what his business is. And I'm like, oh, that's really impressive. You know, I don't know if it's a scam or not, but I'm like, at that point, I didn't know if it was a scam or not, but I go, huh, that's really impressive. I don't, you know, if it is a scam, he's really good at scamming. And if it's not a scam, that's fucking awesome. So, you know, my mind flashes back to that moment. And, you know, there's like, I could tell there's a draw to get upset about something, but I just can't do it. I just feel jovial about it. I'm like, yes, it's just a play. I'm like, yay, that whatever they think, there's two people involved, at least maybe three, whatever they think they did, they didn't do. That's what's wonderful. So whatever play of energy they normally get between people with people that they scam, they don't get that kind of play with me because I can't project onto them. I just can't. And projecting onto them is feeling like a victim too. If I were to feel like a victim, maybe I shouldn't have done it. On Wisdom Dialogues on Friday, one of the first things my friend Steven piped up, and it's all about preventing it from happening again. And it's like, I don't want to prevent it from happening again. That's not the point. That isn't the point. I get scammed a million times. I don't care. What's it for? That's the point. That's where we always missing the point. That's why people are suffering. Okay, that's the same person that's telling me a little bit later on, I know all this stuff. I know everything you're saying, but I'm still suffering. And it's like, well, yes, because you're making things they seem real and important when they're not real and important. Nothing that you seem to do is real or important. So this is our habit to try to fix it so that doesn't happen again. I'm like, no, give me all the scams that it takes to wake my ass up. Okay, I'll take all the scams I need to wake up. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of whatever. And don't tempt the ego. Don't take this as give it to me. Go ahead, give it to me. Give me all of it. Don't tempt the ego like that. I have a different relationship with the whole thing because of practice. So it's more like this for me. It's more like I know that whatever occurs is 100% beneficial for me, and it won't be anything else. See? It's not like, go ahead, ego, go ahead, hit me with it. It's not like that. If you tempt the ego like that, you're going to see it's not a pretty thing, because when you're tempting the ego, you're only tempting the ego because you actually can't handle it, or you think you can. You can handle anything, but you think you can't, so then you suffer over it. Basically, when you think you can handle something, you're suffering over it. When you feel strong and like, oh yeah, whatever it is, I'm the space for that, then it doesn't matter what it is, you can handle it, right? And you know it. You can handle it and you know it. You know you've handled it because you're not upset by it. And that's the thing about any experience, a memory, a present experience, even a projected future experience. If there's not attachment to them, if there's not sorrow over them, it's wisdom. It's just tying in this sorrow thing. Look, when someone will start talking, someone just started talking to me the other day and goes, I don't know why I'm talking about this right now. I really don't want to talk about this right now. And I was like, it's okay. She was just talking to me, and all of a sudden something that she was saying went to a past thing. She started feeling the emotion associated with that past thing and started talking about it. And I could feel her energy, just like really like something was coming up. And she's like, I don't even know why I'm talking about this. I don't want to be talking about it. And I was just like, it's totally okay. And then it was like, she just relaxed, stopped talking about that, kind of like shook it off. Like, whoa, it is like that. You get taken by a memory, which it's not from the past. You're projecting it now. You get hooked by a memory and start feeling all emotional when you're just in a regular conversation with a person. And, that's totally okay. It's like, oh, whoa, I thank you. If that occurred for me where I start feeling all emotional while I'm talking to someone about something, I would just be like, wow, thank you. Oh, I'm glad I can see that. Oh, wow. It brings you closer with people when you have that kind of experience. Yay, everyone. I love you. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. So speaking of, you don't know what you want, got a call from a young girl, 22 years old. She's sure that she wants to have babies. And she wanted to talk to me so she could find out from me what it's like, because she's getting excited about having babies. And the first thing that I related to her was that whole thing about you wanting to have babies, that's a hook. It's just a hook. She's like, oh. I go, yeah, you don't know what's in your best interest. So when you're caught up in that, like this fantasy about having babies, you're denying the lessons that are there for you now. You're missing opportunities because you're caught up in that. That's an idle thoughts. That's chatter. It's mental chatter. It's causing tension. You're trying to work everything out. You're not even pregnant. It's always to take you away from the moment. Like, who wants to know about my pregnancy? I mean, I'm open, I'll share about it all the time, but it's like, who really wants to know about my pregnancy? I don't want to play into this. That's not what this is for. You know, if you are listening to Wisdom Dialogues and you feel like you want to talk to me, I'm open. Like, people, you can schedule a call with me. It's pretty easy to schedule a call with me. But I always use them for Wisdom Dialogues, not for just shooting the shit. A little bit of shit shooting is fun, but I use it for Wisdom Dialogue. So, you know, if you're asking me a question and I see that there's another question really being asked, then I'll let you know. Then we can both have a laugh at it. So how nice it is to be just released from having to perform anything. That biological clock stuff and all those things about how you have to do something at a certain time, it's just programmed conditioned bullshit. Everything that you seem to be, and let's say you're one of the ones, not a lot of people are going through the thing with the Supreme Court saying that the states have the right to say no abortion if they want to say no abortion, right? So some people are having trouble with that because they're going, what if I get pregnant and then I can't have an abortion? Well, if you get pregnant and you can't have an abortion, that's because that's maximally healing. You get pregnant and you can have an abortion and you do have an abortion, that's because that's maximally healing. So it really doesn't make a difference which way it goes. This life, it in itself, it's not sacred. There's nothing sacred about it. Nothing lives, nothing dies. It's valuable and it's important for you because you learn through it. That's all it's for. So who would mind if they were pregnant, even if they thought they were broke? Who would really mind if they were pregnant? I know how it is. I've been pregnant and have had miscarriages and abortions. And I know how it is. There's a sense like, oh my God, my whole life is going to be over if I have this child. That's the ego. The ego loves death. The ego loves killing shit. Okay. That doesn't mean that you're wrong or bad. Of course, I've been through it too. But that is the ego. And it's also the ego saying, I want to keep it. Let's say that. Okay. So you're getting an abortion and there's a part of you that's saying, I want to keep it. That's also the ego. All the guilty thoughts all have to do with the world. If it has to do with the world, it's a guilty thought. Oh, let me tell you this too. This is really fun. If it has to do with the world or what you should do in the world, it's not the spirit. It's not the Holy Spirit. It's some other spirit. It's probably a demonic spirit. If it's what you should do in the world. So I'm observing, you know, this energy, like spirit keeps telling me to keep on asking people for money, but people aren't giving me the money. And it's like, well, spirit's not telling you to ask people for money. That's not how spirit speaks. Spirit just reminds you of your innocence. It doesn't tell you what to do. That's the ego that tells you what to do. Spirit is whispering to you, you don't need money. And then the louder version of spirit, which you invented, is saying, keep asking people for money. Keep asking them. Just keep asking people for money. See how they like it. Just keep on doing it. Don't offer them anything. Just keep asking them for money. It's all the ego, because then the frustration comes back around. It's all the ego just playing with you. Now you're asking, you think you're asking for money, you're asking for love, you're asking for healing, which you can supply. Like you have to supply it though. You have to supply the love to the situation. Any frustration is deep-seated, intense anger. It's just veiling that. Any frustration, where is it? Where's my money? Deep-seated anger. We're going to see something very different very soon. Very soon. I don't know what very soon means, but those are the words that are coming out. Okay? I don't know what it means because time is an illusion. It may not even be this lifetime very soon because millions of years it took to get to, millions of lifetimes it took to get to this point in time. But in the scope of things, very soon. Things are going through a transition. You can tell they can't keep on, the deception can't keep on going. It's playing out on the world stage. It's playing out in everyone's mind. We're one mind. You know what's playing out? It can't keep going this way. And you're like, hooray. Who knows? The whole thing as we know it right now may be on the verge of collapse. And you know what? That is up to us. It's not going to be easy for an ego, but you're not an ego. So the whole thing can be a whole release. Even if to an ego, it would look super scary. And there you go. The ego's like, well, how about that? Is that bad? Is this bad? Is this a problem? Well, it sure does seem like it. I even got a visceral sense that we got a problem here. This is fucking awesome. Hold on a second. I want to see what that is like. So it's funny because on the pattern, I'm on this, what is it? Like a time period, a cycle where apparently I'm supposed to be relaxing and taking a lot of time for myself, which it seems like I do. There's a lot of block therapy happening. And then at the same time, it seems like there's also a lot to do at the same time. So keeping those two things in mind, this is what I love about stuff like this, these kinds of tools like this, kind of like shows you what's going on as far as what kind of energies are playing, right? What kind of energies are playing. So I've got like this perfectionist, self-critical, and also seeming like there's a lot of things to do, and also a directive to not do a bunch of things. So since everything that I perceive is only on the surface, what kind of things could I do? What kind of things could I really do? The only things I can do is get hooked by thoughts. That's all I could do. So anything else that I perceive myself doing, that's not relevant. So I don't have to try to make it go a certain way. That's my rest. When I'm not making meaningless thoughts true, that's my rest. I'm like getting released from thoughts. I'm not doing. See, that is the doership, is the pursuit of these worldly thoughts. So I'll just notice myself pursuing worldly thoughts, and then it'll stop. That's my practice all day long. I love it. It's fun. And all the other stuff that seems to get done or not get done too, that's fine. That's not relevant to me. There's a part of me that pretends to be that it's relevant, and I just watch that. So I'm not attached to the relevance. There are certain plays that we have to play out. And to play it out, there has to be some pretending and relevance. But when you're aware of pretending as such, it doesn't project more illusions. Be aware of pretending that it is pretending. That's why whenever someone tells me they're sick, I'm just like aware that they're pretending like they're sick. Not mad at them about it. I don't argue with them about it. I don't tell them they're not allowed to pretend like they're sick. I'm just aware that they're pretending like they're sick. If it's someone who needs to hear that from me, then it's going to be spoken out of my mouth that they're just pretending, like I have done with some of my friends. Not everyone can take that though. Some of the people, especially people like family members and stuff like that, may be dealing with a guilty self-conscious around you. That's what I get anyways. I got family members and friends deal with this self-consciousness around me. So they don't want to open up to me because they got this impression that I'm some kind of something that doesn't even accept people who have problems. I just know that the problem isn't real. The person, I'll always take care of the person, but the problem, that's not a reality. So if people want to keep the problem, and a lot of the times there's a unconscious it's all unconsciousness. There's an attempt to keep the problem by projecting it and make it like, that this is so. That's why we always think we have to get better at something. I have to get better at something. I know I'm suffering because I got to get better at, what is it? Waking up earlier in the morning, getting to the gym. The other day, my friend said block therapy. You don't have to get better at anything, but you do want to see. Let's say you need to get better at seeing. Let's say you need to get better at seeing that you don't need to get better at anything. That's what's going to give you the release. That's why. That's how you're going to get the release, when you see that you don't need to. You see you don't need to do anything. You see that you don't need to get better at anything. If you're willing to see that and you're asking for that, that's going to be given to you. But if you're asking for money and believing that that is your salvation, then you're making yourself suffer. If you're believing in PTSD, for instance, that is not a fucking thing. PTSD? What? The only PTSD you have is thinking you separated from creation. That's your PTSD. The other PTSD that you made up, like something happened in your life, that's an excuse. That's an excuse for feeling the way you feel, which was already projected before you made that thing up to be the problem. Rape, maybe you, I don't know, got thrown on your head. I had that experience before. It was thrown on your head. Whatever it is that you think gave you the PTSD, deny meaning to that so you could be released from it. You have to deny meaning for it before it can be released. You can't keep it as if it's the cause of your PTSD and also get rid of the PTSD. How can you? It makes no sense. Go through all the counseling, take all the drugs, it's not going to work. Because in your mind, which is all powerful, you're telling yourself, you're teaching yourself that what seemed to happen was real and it did affect you. That makes you vulnerable and it makes everyone vulnerable to death. Why do you want that? You don't. It's the antithesis to salvation, even though it seems like it is salvation. Like making yourself vulnerable and weak is salvation to the ego. That's the ego's salvation because it keeps the ego going. Seems like the ego is really scared right now too, because I am hearing from my friends who are having the most intense rants Like they'll do these big ego rants where it's just like, it's funny. I'm tired of this. Whose dick do I have to suck to get things that it's just like completely off the wall, man. I've been having fun with that. Oh, there's another friend going through ego rants. That's awesome. It has to play out. It's not a problem. It's great. Oh, that's what we're doing. Okay. I'm just gonna kill myself. I don't want this anymore. I don't want to be awakened anymore. This is too hard. That's not coming from you. It's not coming from you. And that's the thing. You can say, I think what people in the world consider enlightenment, because they're all wanting to have enlightenment, right? Is where you're not bothered by the things that seem to occur in the world. That's all it is. That's all it freaking is. So if you're getting bothered by the things that seem to occur in the world, that's the means for healing. Oh, good, I'm bothered. Yay, I'm bothered. Mom, you're bothered. Oh, thank goodness I can see that. I just want to know when I'm bothered. What we do is deny that we're bothered and go along with what the ego's saying. It's holding up the bothered feeling. Anxiety is an upset feeling. I'll say it again because it seems like people don't realize that. Anxiety is also an upset feeling. It's a very intense, tense situation. You need compassion in that moment. Whatever you're thinking, it needs to be seen in the light of truth so that you can finally deny truth to it, because you've been feeding it. By the time it has the capacity to get an anxiety trigger, right? By the time it's able to, like, you're able to use it to give yourself an anxiety trigger, you've already been practicing it. You're already pretty good at it. So now that you can see that feeling, you can decide that that thought isn't relevant to you anymore. It's not meaningful to you. Why would I use something? Why would I pick up a hammer and bang it on my head? You know, it's kind of like what it's like. I'd see it like this. I used to see it like this. I just have my eyes closed and I just be kicking and punching at nothing in a dream. As a, you know, whenever it seems like something, like I'm just socking at the air in the dream. Whenever there's any kind of duality, I just can't even go there. Silly. All right, you guys. Well, it's been really fun. Thank you. I appreciate you. No one came on to talk to me this time. That's okay. I'll just talk the whole time. You know, I like to do that. Hello, everyone. I love you. I see all your names. I appreciate you. If anyone has any questions, let me know. If I have anything to add, I will. So go check out my stuff, hopejohnson.org. Go to the Wisdom Dialogues tab. That's where you get all the recordings. People have been asking me for those, and you know, it's just right there. Wisdom Dialogues. You can even go wisdom. I bet you can go Wisdom Dialogues. Let me try it. Let me try it. Wisdom Dialogues. Dot. Oh my God. There isn't a word. That's gonna go somewhere. Nope, it's not .com. Let's see if it's .org. Oh, I had that one going somewhere. Oh, that'll get you to my YouTube channel if you go there. Okay, wisdomdialogues.org will get you to my YouTube channel. hopejohnson.org will get you to my website. On my website, you can get the podcast from right there. I got a call from someone who needed help, and we just got off the phone, so I missed it all. Oh, you're so cute. You'll get oh yeah, you guys are so awesome. Yeah, you get it however you get it. It's all perfect. Yeah, I love you, Asana. Oh, in case you weren't here in the beginning, I posted another blocking video, blocking the IT bands. I called it IT ecstasy. Apparently I got ecstasy on my mind, Akea. We just named Akea's business Crystal Ecstasy, because she's a crystal connoisseur. She's on Instagram. Now you can reach out to me if you want to talk with me. Facebook's good. Email, however you want. If you want to have a conversation with me, I love to do that. If you feel like you need some kind of an illusion to be busted, some people call it trigger busting or something like that. Write to me, anything like that, all good. Yay. Oh, fun. That'll be fun, Asana. You're welcome to donate to me. That's hopejohnson.org too. There's a donation tab there. You can also shop at Miracle Botanicals. That's always wonderful. And then you get some really good essential oils too before they are all gone. So that's miraclebotanicals.com. What else? That's probably good enough. I haven't been on Instagram. Oh yeah, I told you guys I was going to go on Instagram. I thought I was. But then it didn't occur, so I don't know when I'm going to do that. We'll see what happens. I feel inspired to. It's just a matter of I walk out and I don't see anyone with a camera. You know, it was like I had someone with a camera there, had a camera. I'd come downstairs. If I came downstairs, they'd look at me. You want to do a video? Yes. So we'll see what happens. No, it doesn't happen because nothing's happening. But maybe I'll be back on there, Instagram. We'll see. Yay. Okay, you guys. So until next week, I love you. Mahalo. Aloha. And a hui ho.